Ready? All
Welcome
right.
to the Talking About Life podcast. I am your host, Ian Lipkowski. My Twitter handle is at KOWSKY_ETH, as in the first three letters of Ethereum. My ENS is Kowski.eth. As always, we start the Talking About Life podcast by being thankful and grateful to God, energy, spirit, the universe, information, love, whatever you want to call oneness, if you do so believe. There is a oneness of power, bigger, greater, and higher than yourself. We also always thank the guests. No guest, no show, right? So today we're very grateful to have our guest JP on the show. His Twitter handle is at JPZ_JPZ. So that's at JPZ_JAYPEZY. The Twitter name is JPCoolCrocs.io. Twitter bio reads creator of Cool Crocs NFT artist, at DJ Dimples, at Joseph Penner Art, OG at VFriends Holder, plus Deadheads NFT, at Fame Ladies, at the Alien Boy NFT, hashtag NFTs, hashtag 2 and 3, hashtag Croc Fam, coming to us from Los Angeles, California, and then got the link in the bio here, shopcoolcrocs.com. JP, what is going on? How are you doing today? How are you doing in general? And then anything you want to tell us beyond the bio here.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me on. I really love the intro, the spiritual nature of that. It wasn't something that I was necessarily expecting, but it's good to know that we're more in line in our spiritual beliefs than I had before, recognized. So that's really awesome.
Hell yeah.
It's funny to hear you read out the Twitter bio that is just a ton of links and hashtags. You know, a lot of those are my earliest endeavors in Web3 and purchasing NFTs. With the Deadheads and Fame Ladies and Alien Boy, and I kind of keep them up there to show that I've been in the game for a while now, and those are like kind of the 2021 early projects that I was in that kind of shaped my understanding of what the space is and how to create a project that fit me and what I do within it. So thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you on the show. Hell yeah. So the show is about passion and positivity. You're the creator of Cool Crocs. I'm sure you want to talk a little bit about that. If it's cool, though, I do want to throw you a curveball because, something you sent me that you're about is the law of one. And that stuck out to me because I don't know what that is. And I know a decent amount of things. So what is the law of one?
Uh, the law of one. I sent that to you.
You did. You did. I got it nowhere else.
um, where that was coming from is that is the spiritual nature of um, my understanding, and I started religion for a long time. I went to a private Christian school that was fairly violent, and I had undiagnosed ADHD and potentially some other neurodivergent things. So I felt like I was in trouble. I was always in trouble, but I was reading the Bible, so it was always interesting to me when I would quote the Bible back to the teachers that were furious with me, and that would enrage them even more, and they would do things like throw chalk and throw pencils at kids, and
Yeah.
spankings were very commonplace, and one
Shit, dude.
kid
I'm
got
sorry.
spanked bare butt in front of the class.
Ugh.
Yeah, so like it was that type of environment, and so when I got out of that, it was like, how is that possible that like these teachings of Jesus, who was like teaching nonviolence and teaching good things,
Yeah, right.
turned into the this whatever this
Fucking bare
system,
bottom spanking, bro.
right? And so and so
Diametrically opposed.
right, so it just it made me start studying religion, and then from there, when I went to college, I got into philosophy and anthropology and cultural anthropology, and kind of understanding the religions around the world and different belief systems around the world. So I just kept like pulling at that thread, and when you study academic archaeology, it's really obvious that there's a lot of mysteries and a lot of gaps and a lot of things that don't make sense, and a lot of findings that go against the traditional view, and a lot of that is kind of talked about in Graham Hancock has a thing on Netflix, Ancient Apocalypse. So it's like kind of finally reaching mainstream, which is why I'm not as worried talking about it, because when I first started talking about this stuff, it was really in kind of really left field. Really, what are you talking about? So anyway, back to your original question of what is the Law of One. It is a series of questions and answers from a group of people that were channeling an entity, supposedly, through a channel named Carla Ruckert, dictated by, I forget the name of the other people involved, but L&L Research was the group that they called it, Love and Light Research. So it's this series of question and answer books called The Law of One, the Raw Material, because the entity identified themselves as Ra. Yes, the same as the Egyptian god Ra, but not an individual, a collective, like a soul group is kind of how they describe themselves. And so, it's called the Law of One. In the beginning, you said, there was that message of unity and oneness, and that's really the nature of reality, and everything else is more or less an illusion for spiritual growth.
So the Law of One is like generally the idea that everything itself is like energy, so to speak, or there's one unifying energy or body or force. And then that life itself is like a kind of grand play or grand theatrical production in which we're souls going through a spiritual evolution through having human experiences. And I guess you would then you believe in reincarnation, then where we go through multiple lives, and each life you progress through multiple lessons, and then in your life, if you don't get the lessons, they just repeat through different situations, through karma, through varying just like kind of situational natures of things that'll just come up through relationships or life circumstances. And then the goal is to just kind of keep seeing these things as lessons, not mistakes, and then learn the lessons and then move forward and then evolve as a soul and person and individual.
Yeah, more or less. I'd say that's exactly what it is.
I'm with it, bro. I didn't know I was with it, but I'm with it. That was what I was about anyway to begin with. So, and like you said, yeah, I did kind of allude to that in the intro. We always start in like that. But fuck yeah, dude. I'm all about the Law of One. How did you get into that? How did like so it like you just Googled it? Like I understand, the desire for the search was the break from the Christian religion and the contradiction. So that was like the okay, let me start searching. But like, was that like the first thing you found, or like was there like did you stumble through some other shit first, or?
Yeah, it really was a very, now when I say I'm a skeptic, it seems ridiculous because of the things that I, believe and talk about. But, I really was very skeptical about religion and everything in the beginning, but I know that we feel, right, that sense of spirituality, right, feeling that power. So I know there's something there, but it doesn't seem to match like a lot of the right, like, there's some disconnect with some of it. So specifically Mayan anthropology and Mayan, cultural, religion and stories and myths, because my family's Guatemalan. So that was always interesting, and I wanted to learn more about that when I was in college. And so what that led to is just these mysteries, right? And the more I kind of dug, as the internet kind of came, the more I dug into these mysteries, and I found this name David Wilcock, who is gone up and down as far as his legitimacy in this community, but he talked about one figure that I knew from history, Edgar Cayce, and then this book, The Law of One. And so that's where I was like, what is this Law of One? And started reading it. And then the fact that I was, studying Mayan archaeology, which is, pyramids and the similarities that those pyramids and those early myths coincide with early myths of, Egypt and those pyramids and how those, pyramid cities are laid out. all those correlations kind of made me interested in what he was talking about. And the law of one, the raw material, the book, right? Because I want to separate, like, there is this concept that everything is one, which I agree to. And I think most people kind of do in a spiritual sense.
Right.
And that's taught, all around the world. But then there's also this book that kind of comes from this source that I understand people have a lot of reservations and, about that. So, but that's why I read it, and it confirmed a lot of my studies, over the years, and I'm very happy about it.
So just to kind of clarify, so what do you think? So like the Egyptians and their religion and like, so do you think that was real? Like, you mentioned Graham Hancock. Like Graham Hancock mentions that like he's not so much on the ancient alien side, or either if he is, he's not vocal about it. I actually don't know what his position is on the aliens thing, but his outspoken position, to my understanding, is that during the ice ages, when we thought, or common archaeology says, everything or all human life was extinct or dead at that time, or at a like very like Neanderthal level, if anything, he says no, there was a society before the ice age, and the ice age wiped out like maybe most of them, but then there was like a large population, or not large, a small population, but large enough to affect life, that kind of found like the Neanderthals or whatever, like helped whatever life was developing after them, and passed down the knowledge from the previous civilizations, and that's what kind of like jump started the next era. Some people go beyond that and say that like it was also aliens, like that there really was Egyptian gods, and that either like that the gods were real, or that if you believe the gods were real, that means they were aliens, because like living physical gods that don't come from Earth, like by definition, would be aliens. What do you think? Like, where do you fall on that?
It gets tricky when you talk about these things, just because, there's underlining things that are very important, such as the spiritual nature of it, that is, and a lot of verifiable things. But then once when you start talking about aliens, like, you're going to lose people really quick.
Not
And I
me,
think
bro. I'm
that's,
fucking Alien Inc. It's the name of
I
my
think,
company.
right. Well, I think that's what, right. I think that's what Graham Hancock has been very aware of, which is why he's very specific when what he talks about. But to your point, it is now, scientifically verified that the site I'm not saying that right, a site in Turkey was dated prior to the Younger Dryas, or the Younger Dryas period, which is where, that cataclysm, the Great Flood, all these myths take place. And so we can see that in archaeological history. And yes, it's true. Up until then, there was no geological evidence for anything. I think it's around 5,000 years ago. And so, and don't quote me on the exact numbers, but the timeline of human history was said to have started in Mesopotamia, and then for first real civilization after Mesopotamia was Egypt, where a lot of things came out of. But now we see that this site in Turkey predates that by a lot. And so what does that mean? That means that was definitely advanced human beings on this planet way prior to what we thought. Coincidentally, that timeline coincides with the story of Atlantis, which is also, in the Law of One, where they say that from Atlantis they went to three places. They went to Turkey, Egypt, and the last one. Oh well, they do mention South America, but Tibet as well. And so in all of those places, you see like where traditional archaeology still quite can't like know exactly and prove how those building techniques were used, and similar building techniques in all sites, and different data sets for the dating of it. Some dates way before the Younger Dryas, which was up until now thought to have been like, oh, those readings must be wrong because nothing can be prior to this. But now they find this site buried, and so the geological evidence is okay. There's no way it was after the pyramids, right? So now that unlocks like, okay, maybe all these findings and readings that we thought were wrong are correct, and if those correlate with the stories that come directly from the gods of Egypt, and that correlates with the story of Atlantis. Well, now we're all of a sudden painting a whole new picture of what human civilization and evolution and origins is.
Yeah, I think that's true. By the way,
There's a whole lot there. I'd love to chat. I just realized I did not plug in my computer.
yeah,
Right back.
that's fine, dude. I actually also didn't plug in my computer. I think I have enough battery, but I'll plug it in too. Fully plugged.
All right. My apologies, everybody.
That's fine, bro. It's funny because I also wasn't plugged in, and I was like looking at the battery, thinking I'm probably fine. But like when you did it, I was like, "Dope, we'll both plug in." It's we'll sync up. We're synchronized.
Let's get plugged in now. All right. But yeah, man, that's really cool to hear that. I never really thought, just because you have alien inks in your description, it didn't really clue me into like, oh, maybe he's, I don't know, like what is your thought on all this and the alien?
Everything you said, bro. Everything you just said. Plus, I also believe that like the aliens came and fucking like, look, I'm not saying that I think aliens started human civilization, but I am saying I think there was a group that helped start human civilization, and that group was aliens.
Right? I
mean, if you know what I'm saying. It was definitely aliens, dude. They I think they manipulated physical matter with sound or some sort of other more advanced technology. They knew more about light and somehow fucking manipulated matter with science. Not like, they called it magic, and like, magic and science are kind of indistinguishable. That's like a famous quote if you get to a high enough level. So like, I just think they had a different type of tech than we currently have. Maybe they're not fucking, based like the same way we are. Like, bro, like they could maybe, what if they could do like what a calculator could do, but in their head, and that's normal. That's like the dumbest fucking one of them. You know what I mean, bro? Like, I don't know, but I think they came here, bro, and because, bro, here's the crazy thing to me. Like, this is crazy to other people, and I don't give a fuck what other people think. I don't mind saying, like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't really affect anything else I do in life. Like, I don't, other than my fucking shit is alien inks and I'm about it. You know what I mean? But it's like, I am still like a regular person. But to me, it's like, bro, every civilization that's the beginning civilization, most people couldn't read and write. Only very few people could. It was a prestigious honor. And the story I'm supposed to believe from society is they use that to fuck around and just write a bunch of bullshit that wasn't true about these fucking like dog-headed alien things that didn't even really exist. Like, no, that's like, and it's like, okay, if one of them did that, all right, yeah, maybe that's a little. But bro, Quetzalcoatl, like the fucking feathered serpent, bro, he's in Mexico. Fucking dragons in China, fucking feathered serpents, bro. Fucking Egypt, fucking there was like a feathered serpent guy. Like, bro, that sounds like a motherfucker that was like doing shit and flying around. Like, that guy sounds like he existed to like. And instead of being like, well, everyone who was there at the time said he existed, we're like, nah, they probably made that up. Like, yeah, no, they probably didn't. Like, no, that sounds dumber to me. Like, okay, you think I'm crazy? All good, bro. Like, I think it's crazy that you think they all made that up. That's as crazy as you think I am. That's how crazy I think what you're saying sounds. So I respect like, I get it. That's what I look like to you. That's what you look like to me. That's fine. But yo, they all said that. Like, they align this shit with the star. Like, it all tracks. Their original story tracks to me. Why do we have to come up with? They're like, well, we have to figure out a different story. Why? They told you. So that's where I stand on it.
No, 100%.
To me, it's like obvious almost. It's like,
yeah, they give credit.
They're like, there's these things. They came out of the fucking, I don't know where. They fucking could do all this shit. They knew all this shit. They fucking told us this shit. Like, even if they weren't fucking quote unquote alien, crazy fucking, what is the difference? Like, same shit. You know what I mean? There's some crazy super advanced shit, motherfuckers. Like, super next level humans. Like, they're not me and you. Doesn't sound like, you know what I'm saying? So like, whatever they are, bro, like, they were there. In my opinion, seems like for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why a lot of the armchair archaeologists uh, are like, oh, these indigenous populations couldn't have been telling the truth with their outlandish stories. It's like,
Well, because it's terrifying. That's why.
yeah, I guess.
No, bro. Like once you realize these things, like you're like, well, where are they? Like there's dog-headed things. Holy shit! What are they in the fifth dimension? Are they gonna spit it out? Like what the fuck? There's aliens or abductions? Like all this. You're like, ah! Like that's like the average person, I think. So like rather than feel all that or answer any of those questions, it's like, no, no. How much easier is that than than you know what I mean? Than jumping down that rabbit hole. I think that's it. It's just it's a very uncomfortable truth. I don't know if you ever saw that meme, but there's like two lines, and it's like pleasant lies and it's like uncomfortable truths. Nobody is in line for the uncomfortable truths, and the line for the pleasant lies is out the door. It's like it's like a newspaper cartoon or a meme or something. But that's why, and I get it. It is terrifying, but I don't know. I don't it, but it also doesn't affect my day to day life. So
Mm.
whatever. Like whatever. I just gotta, to me, where does it affect my life? That if I believe all that stuff's real and energy, then I should be a good dude. I should be the best dude I could be. I should be respectful of like, those concepts. I should know thoughts become things. I should know, I manifest my reality from like my vibrations, all that shit. Like that's what's important to me on my everyday life. And whether or not you believe the other things, then then I would just be someone who does a lot of things in the name of positive psychology. So there's really no, in my opinion, going wrong with the beliefs I have. Crazy or not, the only thing they lead me to do is be a more positive, better person. Um,
And that's
because I believe
and
in
that's I
energy.
think the biggest point, and just like to steer it that way, because once you kind of go, you're right, once you kind of start going down the road of aliens, then it opens up all these things that you're looking at whatever type of information from where, and it's crazy. But that's my
Yeah, it's
litmus
crazy.
test of like, what should I be focusing on? Because and this is why the law of one is kind of like the thing that stands um, up to this litmus test, and kind of you know almost brought it about, is like the main thing that they say is all of this information is just superfluous information. It doesn't matter
It's
if you
totally
believe in
superfluous.
aliens,
Right.
but what's important, right, is that yeah, you're nice to people. You selflessly love other people. You recognize the you in other people, and try to understand that this is all one. So I can't hurt my fellow human if I think that he's myself,
Right,
or
dude.
they're myself, or I am them. So why would I do negative things to anyone else if I believe that they are me?
Yeah, dude.
So
E
if the
pluribus unum.
right, if the basic teaching ends up saying, yeah, here's some information, but it doesn't matter because all that matters is like love and be nice, then I believe that information.
Yeah, bro. And like, like, and I understand why people think it's crazy because you got to sift through. I would imagine if you know if you even, are saying what you're saying, you must have sifted through something. So there's like David Icke who says there's like the whole government is like reptile, lizard people, aliens, and they're either wearing human bodysuits like Men in Black, or they have regular human bodies, but their souls have like taken over the vessels of normal humans and pushed the human souls out, and they took them over. Now they got human bodies, and the moon is a Sith base for the lizard people. And I'm like, yo, honestly, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, like, dude, like, I'm happy to say I don't know, bro. Like, I'm not embarrassed to say I don't fucking know. But that's impossible. No, it's not, bro. That's just terrifying. Again, it's just terrifying. But like, I don't know. But like, let's say it's true. The fuck am I gonna do about that, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's superfluous. It's so fucking irrelevant. Like, maybe this.
Oh man, I lost you. You're froze on my end. How about to you on me on your end? Hey, so if we're still going, Housekeep cut out a little bit, so it's just me chatting. Uh, we're going deep right now. We went deep real quick, which is great. It's fantastic. I'm happy about it. I am interested in knowing how you guys felt. I feel a little bit about that meme that's like alien, right? Because my hair is a little crazy today. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. So that's fun. I will take this time a little bit to talk about cool Crocs, I guess. Oh, now it's just me. Am I still here? Is it still? It says it's still recording, but I don't know what the podcast is gonna sound like. Oh, this is great. So, hi everybody. I'm Joseph Penner, JPZ, and I founded Cool Crocs. We launched 1 year ago. Tomorrow, 1 year, no, Saturday. 1 year ago, Saturday, or tomorrow. What day is it? The 1st. Yeah, so now this is Kowski trying to get in touch with me because and I'm really excited about it. Cool Crocs is a cartoon project. Just like go like super try. Well, Cool Crocs is a cartoon project that was started by myself. We have an episode out. Okay, I'm gonna leave and come back. All right, bye.